Hey, I'm Info. You know, I've spent my entire life taking things apart, putting them back together, and figuring out what makes them tick. And at the heart of so many of the machines that have shaped our world is something truly magical, the combustion engine. It's a device that harnesses the power of tiny controlled explosions to create motion. Think about it. Fire, contained and put to work, pushing pistons, turning cranks, and ultimately moving us and our world forward. From the car in your driveway to the massive ships crossing the ocean, this fundamental principle of turning chemical energy into mechanical work is everywhere. It's a beautiful, elegant, and sometimes brutally simple piece of engineering. But the story of the combustion engine isn't a single straight line. It's a sprawling family tree with many branches, some that grew strong and others that withered away. We've had engines that run on gasoline, diesel, gas, and even steam. Each one represents a different answer to the same fundamental question: what's the best way to make power? Today we're going to dive into that history. We're going to get our hands dirty, metaphorically speaking, and explore the incredible variety of engines that humanity has dreamed up. We'll look at the titans that still dominate our roads and the fascinating, weird, and wonderful designs that just couldn't keep up. Why did some engines, like the common petrol engine, become the default, while others, like the wildly inventive Wankel Rotary or the mighty steam engine, get relegated to museums and history books? It's a story of efficiency, of practicality, of economics, and of pure, brilliant engineering. It's about the trade-offs that every single designer has to make. So, come on this journey with me. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the ghosts in the machine. The engines that time left behind, and the ones that are still firing on all cylinders. This is going to be awesome. Let's start with the one we all know. The reigning champion, the internal combustion petrol engine. This is the engine that powers the vast majority of cars on the road today, and its principle is a beautiful four-part dance. It's called the Otto cycle, or the four-stroke cycle. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. First, the intake stroke. The piston moves down, sucking in a fine mist of air and fuel. Then, the compression stroke. The piston moves up, squeezing that mixture into a tiny space, making it incredibly volatile. Next, the magic moment, the power stroke. A spark plug ignites the mixture, creating a powerful explosion that violently shoves the piston back down. Finally, the exhaust stroke. The piston moves up again, pushing the spent gases out. And this dance happens thousands of times a minute, a symphony of controlled violence that turns your wheels. Now, let's talk about the petrol engine's bigger, brawnier cousin, the diesel. On the surface, it looks similar, pistons going up and down in cylinders. But the genius of the diesel engine, invented by Rudolf Diesel, is that it does away with the spark plug entirely. How? Through the sheer power of compression. The diesel engine's compression stroke is much, much more extreme than a petrol engine's. It squeezes the air so tightly that its temperature skyrockets to over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. At the peak of this compression, a fine mist of diesel fuel is injected directly into the cylinder. The intense heat of the air alone is enough to instantly ignite the fuel, creating a massive, powerful shove on the piston. This is called compression ignition, and it's what gives diesel its character. Chapter 3. The cleaner alternative. The LPG engine. Now, for a design you might have seen, but is far less common, the LPG, or liquefied petroleum gas engine. These engines are essentially modified petrol engines, adapted to run on a mix of propane and butane. The fuel is stored as a liquid under pressure in a tank, and it turns into a gas before it enters the engine's combustion chamber. The big advantage here is emissions. LPG burns much more cleanly than gasoline, producing significantly less carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, and particulates. For a time, especially in the 70s and 80s during fuel crises, and a growing awareness of smog, LPG conversions were quite popular for fleet vehicles like taxis and delivery vans. The fuel was cheaper, and the engines often lasted longer because the cleaner burn meant less carbon buildup. Chapter 4. The Great-Grandfather. The Steam Engine. We have to pay our respects to the one that started it all, the great-grandfather of mechanical power, the external combustion steam engine. Unlike everything else we've discussed, the fire here happens the engine. You have a firebox, burning coal, wood, or oil to heat a boiler filled with water. This creates high-pressure steam. That steam is then piped to a cylinder, where its immense pressure pushes a piston back and forth. This linear motion is then converted into rotary motion by a series of rods and cranks. This was the engine that powered the Industrial Revolution. It drove factories, powered locomotives that crossed continents, and propelled ships across oceans. It was a monumental invention, a true world changer. Chapter 5. The Spinning Triangle, the Rotary Wankel Engine. And now for my personal favorite piece of out-of-the-box thinking, the Wankel Rotary Engine. Forget pistons going up and down. The Wankel engine has a single, chunky, rounded triangle, called a rotor, that spins eccentrically inside an oval-shaped housing. As this rotor spins, its three tips are always in contact with the housing wall, creating three separate moving chambers of gas. In a single rotation, the rotor completes all four strokes: intake, compression, power, and exhaust, simultaneously in its three different chambers. It's an incredibly elegant design with far fewer moving parts than a piston engine. It's compact, lightweight, smooth, and can rev to incredible speeds. It's a marvel of engineering that feels like it's from the future. Outro: the survivors and the relics. So what's the final verdict? Why are we driving cars with petrol and diesel engines and not steam-powered or rotary-driven wonders? It boils down to a brutal process of natural selection in engineering. The steam engine, for all its historical glory, was just too inefficient, too slow to start, and too complex to maintain for personal transport. The LPG engine, while cleaner, faced a chicken and egg problem. Not enough fueling stations meant not enough people bought the cars, which meant no incentive to build more stations. It was a logistical dead end. And the beautiful rotary engine, my beloved spinning triangle, was plagued by issues with apex seal wear, poor fuel economy, and higher emissions, challenges that brilliant engineers fought but could never fully overcome for the mass market. The petrol and diesel engines, on the other hand, hit the sweet spot. They weren't perfect, but they were good enough at everything. They offered a fantastic balance of power, efficiency, reliability, cost-effectiveness, and manufacturing simplicity. Over a century of continuous refinement has made them incredibly dependable and well understood. They became the dominant species because they were the most adaptable and practical solution for the widest range of applications. They built a world around themselves, an infrastructure of fuel and knowledge that is hard to displace. The story of the engine is a story of trade-offs, where the most well-rounded survivor, not always the most exotic or powerful, wins the day. But that doesn't make the others failures. Each one of these engines is a fascinating chapter in our quest for power, a testament to human ingenuity. From the brute force of steam to the elegant spin of the Wankel, they all teach us something. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these engine types do you find the most fascinating? Are you a fan of the classic four-stroke, the torque of a diesel, or do you have a soft spot for one of the underdogs like the rotary? Let me know down in the comments. I read all of them, and I'd love to geek out about this stuff with you. Thanks for watching.